in the past, death hasn't really bothered me. I don't really get too upset about things. It's not because I don't care about people. It never really hit me that hard. But this week we lost Louie Gump, the founder of the Roan Scholars, and in many ways, someone who I guess I didn't even realize how important they were in my own life. I've been watching through one of my favorite anime over the last, I guess, month or so, and in it, it's My Hero Academia. There's a point in the show where it's near the beginning. All Might is the number one hero in the world, and the main character Deku really looks up to him. And he asks All Might if someone who has no powers can be a hero. And the first time All Might answers him, it's kind of cynically. But then after some things happen, All Might comes back to him and he points his finger at him and he says, "Young man, you too can become a hero." It's funny because I really connect with Deku as a character. I think he's kind of me in a lot of ways. And when I think about myself as a high schooler, I'm just a guy from a really small town in East Tennessee. And most of my life, to be honest, adults kind of view me in like one of two ways. I've thought about this a lot and it makes me kind of sad. They either view me as someone who seems to have everything together, and so that person doesn't need any help, or they don't need anyone to tell them what they can do or whatever, inspiration, mentorship, and so I guess that's part one. And so then by that they just kind of ignore me. He'll be fine is the phrase. And then on the other half, I guess they fear me. I don't know. I've never really understood it. I don't try to be threatening in any way, but I guess sometimes when people see you as competition, they can see you as a threat. And so if I think about it, there have been very few times, and I'll say this specifically because it matters. I've had basically no men invest in me in any way, shape, or form. Like, I've had plenty of teachers and friends who are women who have invested in me and have worked with me to do different things. It's a part of the reason why I can wear this shirt. But I've never really had like a male role model to invest in me. And then in 2010, I got one. When I graduated from high school, that Roan scholarship was in many ways, looking back at it now, my call. It was the first time someone had ever said, "Young man, you too can become a hero." And of course, that's all I've ever wanted in my life. So I hadn't really ever thought about it. I looked up to Louie, and if I'm being honest, I was always really, I guess, scared because he was so great. And it was never that he was that way. Louis was always inviting and welcoming. And whenever you talk to him, he's one of the few people I've met in my life where when you speak to them, you're the only thing that matters. It's just you. And they're enthralled with everything you have to say and excited. And so it wasn't that. And he was always so kind to my family. You know, we don't always get that everywhere. And so to see someone who was just overly welcoming of people who many times didn't really fit in, I think, or at least I always felt that way, Um, he, Lucy and he were both just so kind to us. And I don't know, I didn't realize just how much this would hit me because we lost more than just a good man. He's invested in so many people, not just his money, but his time and his knowledge and his connections. And he never, from my perspective, never asked for anything in return. He just did it because he believed in people. And until this week, I didn't really realize that I looked for this, a male mentor, I guess you could say, for a long time. It's the Obi-Wan to my Luke Skywalker, and they just I never felt like I found them, and maybe it's because I just missed it. There's so many times I'm so boneheaded I miss things, and I worry sometimes I missed it. So I really just wanted to make I just needed to say this. I don't know. I wanted to. I thought about scripting it. I thought about sitting down and saying, "Well, let me write down what I want to say. What are the things I can tell about Louie Gump? I can tell you about my story, how Roan Scholars was legitimately a dream come true for a little 4-year-old Lucas sitting on his mother's knee." Um, and so for that, Louis was a dream maker. He literally put something into existence that, well, I guess years down the road, 10 years after its inception, would make a little boy from Rome Mountain's dream come true. Give him a chance to go to college. And, I'm going to miss him. I only ever got to have breakfast with him once, and um, it was a treat. Louis was such a different person when it was just like one on one, and I love that side of people. And to be able to see it with him and to feel, here was this breakfast. I was there to learn from him, and all he wanted to do was talk about me. And I was so, like, I wasn't mad because I wasn't mad. But it was like, I was so off put because why would you? I can't imagine why it would have been me, but he was so adamant to talk about what was I involved in, what was going on. He wanted to know about all the things and was asking me what I'd learned from it, and that was something special. So to go back to my analogy from the beginning, the young man, you too can become a hero. Spoiler warning. I'm sure if you know, you know, and if you don't, it's not really a shocker. At some point, All Might loses his great strength, and the number one hero has to retire. And in that scene, he turns away and points at the camera. And he said, "Now it's your turn." And of course, the people in who are watching this happen think it's a warning to the villains, but Deku knows it's a call. And to be honest, I don't think that call's made to me directly, mainly because Louis' vision for a lot of things is very different than something I could ever uphold or do. But I do think there's a hole, a really big hole. will step up to feel it. That's the part that weighs on me now. And I'll do my best. That's my promise. That's the only promise I can give, is I'll do my best. And that was always the thing he said he appreciated about me, is that I would take every opportunity that I was given, and I'd always try. And it's funny because in my first interview, he asked me, he was the first interview I ever had at the Roan, and he asked me, would I be willing to jump out of a plane or to ride a bull? And I remember thinking to myself, sitting in that chair, absolutely not. But I knew, that's not a good answer, and that's just fear. And so I told him, yeah, I'll try it. And if I don't like it, I won't try it again. And so I tried that with everything I did at ETSU, and I guess everything since. I'm willing to go out and try something that even internally I'm afraid of, because Louie always said, go out and try. Obviously not be stupid, but to go out and try. I'm going to miss you, Louie. I know I'm not alone, and at your funeral there were so many people there. It was good to finally see some friends I haven't seen in a long, long time. Really wished you'd have been there to have seen it. Thank you. Thank you for believing in a little boy from Rome Mountain who didn't even know who he was at the time, and probably in a lot of ways still doesn't. But you believed, and you gave me a chance. And I'll never forget it. And now, maybe it's my turn to go out and find those and tell those who've never heard it, young man, you too can become a hero.